Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Be the Expression. If you're new here, my name is Brianna, and today we are going to be filling in the rest of my sketchbook. Um, Unfortunately, this sketchbook has been in the works since 2021. Um, I've completed a few sketchbooks, and that'll be for another day, another time. But I'm excited to finish this one. Um, 2021 was a completely different time in my life, and I think I'm ready to close the chapter on this sketchbook. I've loved it. It's done really well as far as with materials. There are things I thought could have been better, but we can kind of get into that later. And I'm going to be using, there's this app, it's called Spinwheel. I use it when I'm like, don't really want to think about what I want to draw. So instead of like surfing on Pinterest for hours, nothing wrong with that. But sometimes I just don't have the capacity to think about all of that. The app, like, it allows me to do like this spin kind of mystery thing because I don't know what I'm gonna get, right? So I have one for materials. I have another one for art themes. So that's like landscapes or portraits or plants, things like that. So I'm gonna be using that to finish this sketchbook. I have 6 pages left, or if I did spreads, it would be 2 spreads and then 2 individual pages just because of how the pages fall. So I haven't decided. It depends on what I spend, depending on what page I'm on. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna spend. No, never mind. I was gonna spend them all at once and then like have each option ready. But I think because I don't know if I'm gonna do spreads or individual pages, I'm just gonna do it one at a time. So yeah, we're going to finish my sketchbook and then at the end we'll do a flip through. So join me as we get ready. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a disclaimer. You'll see that my hands are a little ashy. I recorded this video fresh out of the shower and I didn't want to put lotion on because my skin is naturally very oily and it stains paper if I like put lotion on and then I go on my sketchbook. Sounds strange, but it's the truth. So mind your business if you see an ashy elbow here and there. Um, so let's get started to see what the first one will be. It looks like, architecture, and I'm gonna have to spin again. Or I think I just didn't record the second spin. Yeah, that looks accurate. But the second spin for the material was oil pastels. These are some of my favorite oil pastels to use. These are probably, I think these are the only products I'll physically show. The rest of them I'll have to just orally tell you guys. I have a very random array of oil pastels. I usually just go for what makes sense in that moment. Because oil pastels are like very loose and very fun, this was a great way to kind of start. I needed to really like warm up too. I didn't warm up before this, so this was a good way to like stay loose and just let it flow. It was super late when I started recording this. It was like I don't even want to talk about what time it was. You could probably see in the beginning of the video, like the bags under my eyes. But I was super exhausted. But you guys know I'm on a mission and nothing's going to stop me. Absolutely nothing's going to stop me. So I was like, I'm super glad oil pastels are the first on the list. Doing some architecture. I just found a random like beach house that I could play around with. This paint that was down was already on there. So I'm just drawing on top of it. Hey guys, please listen to this scratch. It's so satisfying. Here I'm using hairspray as a fixative for the pastel so it doesn't go over to the other page. It was less toxic than using an actual fixative in my room, so that's what we had for today. I used like a hair dryer to dry it. And then for this next one, I had to use markers. I was trying to decide if I wanted to use my washable markers or hoo-hoo just because they can bleed. I ended up using the hoo-hoo markers because the background, because it was paint on the other side, I figured even if it did bleed through, it wouldn't be too bad. Like the 2 marks you see in the corner, I kind of tried to test it out to see if I could see through it, and it wasn't terrible. So I was like, well, let's just go for it. I don't have a lot of I've used the hoo-hoo markers. I don't really have a lot of skill in using them. I just kind of guess, honestly. I just kind of do what feels right, which is like the way I like to approach my sketchbooks. Some of the pieces are like things I actually did try, and I was like wanting to make something really nice. And then a lot of the things in this sketchbook are very expressionate, which I love. It just kind of allowed me to be free. So even with finishing the sketchbook, I told myself like there's no pressure. I want to have fun. I haven't finished the sketchbook in a while. I want to say like 2 years maybe or so. So this was like a really good opportunity to just let it flow and let it just go with what I needed. For this next one, I forgot to do the screen record, so I just showed you guys, but I did colored pencil and cartoon. I decided to do, I was about to call him Daffy, Lord, Donald Duck. And this was like super satisfying for me because I just freehanded the sketch. Like, I just kind of went in for it, and I was a little hesitant, but I was like, wow, this is really like starting to look like him. It just reminded me of like being a kid and like seeing all the cartoons. I mean, with my kiddo, we watch cartoons not all the time, but when we do, it's like, wow, this is very nostalgic. I show him a lot of the older school cartoons like Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and all that, and I was just really like, I always really connect with it. So it was cool to like, to have this prompt. And I was like, well, let me just find what's on Pinterest. And Daffy, or Lord Donald, came up. Colored pencils, I forgot how tiring they are. You see, I just switched to my left hand because my hand was starting to cramp. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like it's been so long. Like the amount of pressure I needed to use, it was a lot. But I enjoyed it. I haven't picked up colored pencils in a while, so it was good to get them going, especially on like such a fun prompt. So yeah, it was really, really a smooth process. These colored pencils, they're a mix of Prismacolors and I think Crayola, or are they Faber-Castell? I don't think so. Honestly, I don't really know. I just kind of throw them all in a cup and I just use whatever colors make sense. But look at that, you guys. Like, it looks just like him. I was super proud of that one, actually. So this was taken the next day. I was at work because I'm telling you, I was super exhausted like that night. And I was like, I need to be able to get up for work. Like, I had to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it was like pushing 2 o'clock. I think when I finished the last clip. So my lunch, I had a little time cut into my lunch, which was okay. I was just getting busy and doing work things, but I made like the last 30 minutes of my lunch drawing, and I wanted to, this one was it said charcoal / pencil and animals. I didn't have charcoal on site, but there was like other art materials, so I just used the pencil there. And I was like, well, when I get home, I can use more charcoal or more of the actual art pencils, which was fine. So, yeah, just enjoy me drawing animals. So on this next page, once again, I was just really going for it. Like finishing the sketchbook, really just, I was going for everything. But I did this, I think it was like a picture of King Kong, like the live action movie. I was just typing in animals and I was like, oh, what about like a gorilla? Like it's similar to like human features, some of them. And I wanted something like kind of big to take up the space. So his picture came up and I was like, well, let's try it. I've never drawn an ape or a gorilla, or I don't think I've drawn a monkey before. So I was like, well, if the task is animals, let's just go for it, see what happens. And I liked how it turned out. It's not my best work, but it was cool. I really liked the flow and the process. It's been a while since I've had charcoal on my fingers and stuff. So this was the final page spread-ish, if you will. And I mean, at this point, you guys, I'm like, wow, I gotta like do this again. Of course, I wouldn't probably have prompts for the entire sketchbook, but it was really fun to like decompress. This is usually how I warm up before I do something. So to kind of use it as the baseline for what I'm doing to close out the sketchbook was really cool. So this last one was marker and plants. I just found this random flower online. Once again, used the Ahuhu markers, just kind of went in for it just because even if it did bleed through, it's the last page. It doesn't really matter that much. There goes that yellow outline you see. And then the other page, I didn't want it to bleed through, so I just used my Crayola markers to do some doodles and wrote a little message. And yeah, this was really fun to do, and let's see how everything turned out. All right, the time has come. We are finally done. So now let's do a flip through. And I need to date it. So you see there, I started the sketchbook October 27, 2021. So I need to write today's date on it, which is April, what's today? 23rd, 2026. Nice. So this first one, I remember I did it for a project in grad school. It's very symbolic. I love that one. This was out of acrylic paint I believe. This sketchbook had a lot of experiments in it, so yeah, let's beware of that. This was made from gouache. It was the very first time I used, I think, the Himi jelly gouache. I remember because I had just had surgery. This was like a year after. No, it wasn't a year after. It was a few months after the first photo picture. Gouache is very challenging, but I did really like that one. This one was just acrylic paint, and then I saw this like bird image out of it. I don't know if you could see that, so I outlined it with like black ink. But yeah, it was just random paint, spillover paint that I had, and I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool, so I kept it. This I made out of, I believe it was the Ahuhu markers. This was when I had surgery on my right knee in 2022, and I had to take oxycodone, and it was awful. Oh my gosh, all the side effects sucked, but it was like it was like either take the medication or stay in pain. And so this is how I felt, honestly, stuck. And then because of the knee surgery, I was on my back a lot, and then I started having like these really terrible back spasms. It was just awful. It was just the worst time of my life, actually. So this is kind of what it felt like. I just really wanted to like rip my body in half because of how much pain I was in. Like doing art was the only thing that was helping me cope at that time. So sketches started to get a little rough after those. This, I remember I was practicing fabric. That's some acrylic paint. These are just like horrible, ugly sketches. I don't know why they exist. But you know, that's what sketchups are for. Everything's not supposed to be beautiful and perfect. This was a dream I had. I remember this one. So I used acrylic paint and I think Posca markers. And I remember it was such a strange dream. It was like a doctor literally like was handing me my lungs, and he was like, here, you can breathe now. It was so strange, but I was like, I have to draw this Like, I absolutely have to draw it. And then here's a little panda with a paintbrush. Fun fact, pandas are my favorite animal. So I think this was oil pastel, and that was it, actually. So I actually really like that one. That one's in 2022. This was like spillover paint once again, and I was like, oh, I think I see a face out of it. So I just kind of outlined it with more paint and white gel pen, and I think this is, yeah, this Posca markers. So I kind of like that one. This one was like a fun prompt I did. You guys know like the Pictionary game where it has like random like words or whatever. I think I had like did some sort of game with myself similar to the spin wheel, but it just gave me elevator and toothpaste or toothbrush. I think it was toothbrush and elevator. And I was like, oh, like what if Floss, it was like a character of Floss had a toothbrush and he was too short to like reach the elevator buttons. So he like, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was funny and I thought it was cute. This is a photo of, or a picture of Nina Simone. I really love her and her music and what she represented. And I had like the spillover paint in the background, and I was like, I wonder what like oil pastel will look like. So this is a mix of oil pastel and paint. So yeah, I really like that one. This was like a series I was kind of doing with myself. So this was like art based off songs I like. I'm probably gonna do something like that again. I remember this song. This song was Afraid of Love by Brother, or Brother, technically, B-R-U-T-H-A. And it was pretty much talking about like, if I'm afraid of love, how am I ever gonna find the one? And sometimes love calls if you're just not ready to answer. So, and then this one, I don't know, I just always had these two quote unquote characters in my head about like a Rubik's Cube and then like the world or the earth, like someone is your world. And like, I don't know, it's just something symbolic I always like to do. And this was like a series of how love kind of happens. Well, this particular love, and it was like, oh, all the cuddling and like the symbolic or symbolism, excuse me, of like kind of morphing into each other a little bit. And then the arguments or the storm, and it's like I try to represent like clouds or a storm or tsunami. I don't know what was going on, honestly. And then it's like, oh, we make up again, and some of the white from that got on there. Trial and error, you guys, you know. And then, oh, happy ever after. It was just like a little 4 or 5 part little mini story or something. I don't know. This phase of the sketchbook's gonna get kind of weird because I was like experimenting with oil pastels, and this was around a time where I didn't even want to do art, but I was like, I need to do it to feel better. Yeah, so I don't know what that is, and I don't know why it looks like that. The same for this one. This one's actually kind of creepy, and I don't like looking at it too long, so I'm not gonna make you guys look at it too long. This one kind of reminded me of Squidward a little bit. I don't know, maybe I was watching SpongeBob, I really couldn't tell you. But and then this one, it reminds me of you guys ever seen that movie Robots? There's just like this big character that's like a trash can. I don't know, he kind of reminds me of that now that I'm looking at, or like a weird Ninja Turtle kind of vibe. I'm not really sure. This one was like a abstract self-portrait. That's how I felt that day, and I was just like, ugh, what is life? But I was really like enjoying the oil pastels at this phase of life. This, I don't know, this reminded me of like one of those little I didn't really watch this show, so forgive me. But it was like that Adventure Time show. I don't know. It just reminds me of some little character that would be up there. More experimentation with oil pastels. Random doodles that I made into quote unquote a face. This one, oh, I remember this one. This one absolutely freaked me out when I made it. And I said, I'm literally never gonna look at this again. So I put sticky notes on it and just put like a animated like stop or warning sign. Cause like, it just creeped me out. It was so freaky. It was so freaky. But more experimenting with oil pastels. I don't know what I was trying to cover, but clearly I didn't want anybody else to see it. But I just did some doodles over the sketchy note, or the what are these called? Sticky notes. Yeah, I was really loving this oil pastel phase. Like, this one's probably one of my favorite ones. I don't even know what kind of character that is, but I love it. More sticky notes to cover mistake. I remember this drawing. It was perfect, you guys, and then I colored the hand and I ruined it. Absolutely ruined it, and I'm still sick. This one was more oil pastel, like an abstraction piece. I don't know. I know this one is, you know, the what's it called? Not reflection, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. But I think I was probably just experimenting. Oh, I know what I was doing. I was trying to do another version of this on this page, and I think I just gave up halfway. That's probably what happened. I was doing some experimenting with color and fashion, and I was trying to get used to like drawing again. This was in 2024. So yeah, I was trying to get used to the markers. I hadn't really had a lot of experience using them. This one was like, this page is just all kind of janky, but I still kind of like it. It's like collage mixed with oil pastel, mixed with pen and pencil and magazine, and reflection is the gateway to habit change. I don't know what was going on during this phase, but I remember feeling like I wanted to fill the space. This is just kind of what came of it. So, and then did some practicing. I started really liking, you'll see it later on in the sketchbook, but like this outline, and this is in some of my old sketchbooks too. But this like yellow outline to like make it pop. And I really wanted to work on like some sort of it's kind of an expression, but not really, some sort of outward expression. So that's where this one came from. This was pencil and marker, I believe, color pencil. This is just rough. I don't know what's going on here, but I do know it's some sort of dichotomous meaning, or not even dichotomy, but the opposite meaning of like being cool. And like, it's interesting because they can't see and they're calm, cool, collected, and this one they can see but they can't talk. Very interesting. I don't know what's going on here, but you know, art therapist, something was going on. Here I was playing around with like drawing again. These I did, I want to say last year, because these are like watercolor and colored pencil and oil pastel. I was just like, I'm just gonna go all in and go all for it. Yeah, I like this page. It's a little messy, but I like that. For those of you who follow me on like social media, I did this one the end of last year, November. It has like this glare on it, but it's color pencil. I really enjoyed it. It was my first time getting back into drawing around that time period. And it was just really fun to make, and I love the way it came out. I just have this weird fascination with green and purple people right now. I don't know what that's about, but I like it. Did some rough pen sketches, so I would challenge myself to not erase. So that was cool. These were also on my page. These are just a couple of oil pastel portraits, so you guys see like the green and purple going on. I really don't know what this phase is about, but I really like it. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, honestly. These are both really fun to make. She's kind of alien-like. I still like it. Like, her eyes are kind of bulging out a little bit. I just really like it. I don't know. And then this was an acrylic painting I did. This is like an idea I want to replicate on like a canvas at some point, once I can understand how to make things actually look like they're underwater. But I wanted to at least get the idea out, even if I didn't have it perfect. So that's that one. And then, oh, brings us to today. So I made this on, this was one like an extra piece of paper. Like, as you guys could see earlier, like the background was already there, so I just covered it. Yeah, I'm just gonna skip that. That's terrible. And then I have practicing color theory with this orange, this is oil pastel on top of acrylic. This was soft pastel. This looked a lot better before I sprayed it. I sprayed it, of course, so it wouldn't like transfer over, but I don't know, it like muted the colors and like almost like erased some of the colors. I don't know. I got to figure out the science with that and figure out other ways to do the sedative. I probably just actually need to buy the real sedative, but you know, whatever. And then yeah, here are the sketches I did. You could tell like I was getting burnt out a little bit. Not really, actually this really energized me. It seems low effort, but it really wasn't. I really liked how this came out. I added this purple border around it. And then look at Daffy. I am really proud of this. Like when I was a kid, I used to like draw animated characters all the time and I was really good at it. I could just replicate them really well. So I'm really proud of this. Like I'm really proud of that. And then my animals, I did okay here. I'm not mad at it. I like this though. And then my flower. And it says, I'm exactly what I need. And I think I just really needed to hear that from myself. So this book is done. She is finally finished. Took me 5 years for no reason. Of working in other sketchbooks, etc. But she's finally done. Thank you guys for joining. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.